Okay, it looks like we're live. Let me double check here. Take my headphones out. There you go. All right. All right. I want to open with prayer. We're going to pick up in the Torah reading with Exodus, I think, chapter 7, verse 8. But before I do, I just want to just love on Yahweh, love on Yeshua, surrender to him. I want to be a vessel. Lord, we're about to read your Torah, Yeshua. Your Torah is beautiful. How much more beautiful is the one that it reveals? Would you open our eyes to see wonderful things in your Torah? In the same way, open the eyes of our heart. I want sight of you. I want sight of your beauty. One thing I ask of you, Yeshua, and I do. I ask for many things. I've asked for you to heal my daughter. I've asked for you to care for my children. I've asked for you to not let sickness harm my kids. I've asked for you in the most intimate things, the things that scare me. I've asked for you to not let me go down and be swallowed in poverty. But Lord, out of all these requests, out of all the requests I have and all my fears and all my anxieties, I lay them down right now. One request. This is one thing I'm asking you for. This is the one thing I'm asking. This is what I'm seeking. That I could dwell in your house and I could gaze on your beauty. That I could see you, that I could be near you all the days of my life. I want to see you and know you. When I confess to you that my heart grows heavy, the eyes of my heart get blind and heavy, just like the eyes of Jacob grew heavy and he couldn't see well. I feel like my heart is so prone to hardness. It's so prone to blindness of your love. So would you give me sight of your love? Your love is beautiful, Lord, and I know that you love me. Your love is better than life. Your love is better than life. Just like the psalmist writes, I thirst for waters, like a land that's weary, Lord, and longing for water. I thirst for the living God. I want to know you. Let me see you. Unveil the Torah so I could see you in it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the Torah. It's not worth studying the Torah if I can't see your loyal love revealed. Reveal your love. If I can't see your love revealed in the Torah, I don't want to read the Torah because your love is beautiful. And I asked, Lord, that I just ask that I would please you. I want to make you happy. I want to make you happy because of what your love is and what I have seen of your love. I want to know that I'm truly loved and cared for. Lord, reveal that to me. Lord, help me to respond in a way that's befitting of your love. And I just give you thanks that you died for me. I give you thanks for entering into the realm of death. I give you thanks that you took on the form of a slave, that you were beaten, that you were battered, that you were broken for me. That in your stripes we are healed, Lord. That you were rejected. You were despised for me. You're despised, Lord, because you love me. And you proved your love for me that while I was yet a sinner, you died for me, Messiah. And so we just thank you for the Torah. We ask you to teach us. All right. Okay. Loving on God. It's always good to try to love on God before you go to the scriptures. It's what's the point in the scriptures, right? John, the Gospel of John tells us, Yeshua says in the Gospel of John, all these scriptures write about me, but you won't come to me to have life. So we want to see you, Messiah. We know that you are the love of God revealed. And so we want to see you when we go to the Torah. Let's see here. So we're in 7 verse 8. Did we finish 7 verse 8 or that's our first verse?
That's the first one that we're going to start.
Okay.
7.
Let's hear it.
All right. And Yahweh said to Moses and to Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh speaks to you, saying, do a wonder for yourselves, you will say to Aaron, take your staff and throw it before Pharaoh, and it will become a snake.
Okay. Vayomer Yahweh al Moshe. So Yahweh says to Moses and to Aaron, Aaron lemor, ki yedaber elechem paro. You guys. Okay, so you will go to. So you will. He will speak to you, Pharaoh, saying that you. Okay, he will speak to you, Pharaoh, saying, which is. Let's see here. Exodus 7, 8. Just about this. When Pharaoh speaks to you, I knew he would say, okay, do a wonder for ourselves. Okay, that I see. So I was right. It's Pharaoh talking to them. Alechem, when Pharaoh speaks to you. In the moment that Pharaoh is speaking to you, saying, Tenu lachem mofet. I guess it's give a sign. Let's see here. What's Tenu? need my Hebrew Bible open here. Alechem paro lemor tanu. Natan, that's what I thought. Okay, so it's Natan, it's to give. Give us a sign. When Pharaoh says to you, give us a sign, sorry guys, brain fart. When Pharaoh says to you, give to us, tanu lechem, you guys give us a sign, that you will say to Aaron, kach et matcha, take your staff, ve hashalech, and send it, or
Send it.
throw it. Yeah, it is.
Send it.
Send it, bro.
Send it. I'm not even kidding. I will send it.
But it makes me think of, like the core shalach, the core, just for a second as a sod reading, the core verb shalach is there, cause it to be sent or cause it to be thrown. The word for apostle is shaluach or shaliach, a sent one,
I thought
and a sent thing.
Yerah or Torah was a throw.
It is. Yerat is more like throw with the idea of aiming.
Oh.
So like you can throw arrows. You can throw stones at people. When you're aiming someone at a command, you're like saying, if you miss the target, you're sinning, right? So Torah is saying you hit the target. Whereas this is just like, just throw. Like often this verb will be in the prophets, Yahweh will roll an enemy into a ball and just throw it out of the land.
Okay.
So to send. And so, which is interesting because this serpent has this long narrative in the Torah. He ends up in the same way that this serpent is sent as a sign to the God of this age, Pharaoh. Messiah says, like the serpent that ends up being lifted up. Right? And Messiah is the apostle. He's the sent one. He's the first. He is our apostle, like Hebrew says. He's the one who's sent. So we have in verse 8, so take that staff and send it to the face of Pharaoh, before Pharaoh, in front of Pharaoh. Vayihi tanin, that it will become a serpent, and it will be a serpent, which is interesting. Tanin, it's like Tanaim. It's like this Leviathan, like the serpent of the deep. I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's interesting. Which is this often gets correlated with Egypt, or it gets correlated with that ancient serpent, the dragon. That's interesting. Which, as a side note, when you make a replica, so when you make a replica of an object and you send it into sacred space, it's called an asham. It's a type of offering. Sometimes it can be a blood offering, but sometimes an asham is not a blood offering. It's just like a mimicked copy. So interesting. The snake is going to be sent there, and it's going to be.
I always wonder why a snake.
Yeah, it's the word here isn't nachash. The word here is tanin. So that's interesting. Let me.
So like that in Job?
Sea monster. It's also called a dragon or a sea monster. This is the word for Leviathan. This is a word. This is the creature that Leviathan is. It's also the word in Genesis 1. Yahweh made the creatures of the deep. I'll read it. Very strange. Yahweh. So, and remember, the sea is a place of chaos and a lack of order. Its order is you stay at these boundaries and these edges. That's how it's a forced order. But where are we in 1? Where does that happen in 1? Where he said that when he makes the animals to inhabit it, is it the 4th day?
Yeah. No. 5.
Bummer. Sometimes, which means
no. There you go. It's good.
We'll see. We're using a lot of internet, and something like this. Living creatures, nefesh chaya, ve'of ofeif al haaretz al panei rakia hashemayim, and birds on the face of it. And then verse 21. Vayivara, and he created Elohim. Vayivara Elohim et ha taninim. Okay. Sea monster, sea dragon. Hagadolim, the great sea monsters or sea dragons. Ve'et kol nefesh ha-chaya ha-rameshet asher shartsu, or darters, I guess is what it really is darters. Or these are, yeah. Ha-mayim laminehim, according to their kinds. So these creatures of the deep.
What does it say Egyptians called to praise?
Psalms. So what are we called to praise? What?
It says monster fig, i.e. Egyptians called to praise.
Yeah, it becomes the Leviathan becomes a symbol of Egypt.
Oh.
But I think too the Leviathan also will become by extension the symbol of Babylon and Assyria. Do you see the pattern? And eventually Greece and Rome. Leviathan is this dark dragon that's allied with the throne. And so there's this unseen connection with the seen kingdoms, and they're in opposition. This is partly where you get the idea of spiritual warfare.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's this connection, and that makes sense that it would be like as a sign that they'll send out theirs. So where are we? We're in verse. Where are we now?
10.
And it becomes a snake. Okay, did you read 10 already?
No.
Okay.
And Moses and Aaron came to Pharaoh, and they did so, as Yahweh had commanded. And Aaron threw his staff before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a snake.
Yeah.
It's the same right there.
Yeah, same that Tanin, and it becomes a snake. So Moses and Aaron go into Pharaoh's presence, and they did thus according to the command of Yahweh. Aaron threw his staff before Pharaoh and before servants, and it became a snake, or transformed to a snake. It became to snake for snake.
Okay.
So now we have this picture. They throw the staff down, this thing that's also called Leviathan, or this beast, and they throw it in front of Pharaoh. They throw it at his feet, and in front of his servants. What's the response? Verse 11, what do they do?
And Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, and they also, the magicians of Egypt, did likewise with their secret arts. Each threw down his staff, and they became snakes, and Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs.
Mm-hmm. Show off practice sorcery. So Pharaoh, Vayikragam Paro Lechochmim, the wise ones, Ula Machshafim, the sorcerers, Vayalahatehim, mysteries and enchantments.
Oh,
interesting. Mysteries or enchantments. Yeah, see. Consider me incredible. One thing I guess I could do is close all the tabs and see if anything's eating up the wireless. Interesting.
I'll turn off my on my phone.
Yeah, good call. I'll turn mine off on my phone too. That's always a big
already did that.
Let's see. You're gonna open for me? Okay. That's off now. Download. What are you downloading? I don't care about that. All right. Jump back on. Oh, did it? Oh, they tried to join. It's not working, I guess. Interesting. Let's close Spotify too. Man, just learning things every week. Learning all the time. Learning is great. Stuff is happening. Okay, let's see here. And then, well, I'm going to close you. See if that works. Learning stuff. Okay. We don't want that. Do I have it? Let me double check that my Spotify is off here. Okay, good job. That would have sucked if I accidentally closed Google. Trying to reconnect due to poor wireless connection. Interesting. I think it's fixed. If I refresh it, what happens?
I don't know what will happen. We will find out.
Let's refresh it. Let's see if we lose it. Ooh.
Okay.
Let's see, did that work? Trying to reconnect now. Okay, close all that stuff, which isn't helping us. Oh man, trial and error. Way more error than trial, it feels like. Just error. And a cough,
Trial.
a sad, lonely cough somewhere far away is trial. Oh, look at that. It ended it.
Okay.
Isn't that
Do we
great?
have a watch party? Oh, there you're live.
Am I still?
Let me get in there.
Get in there. Yeah. I don't think so. Because...
Oh, that's just
Trial and error.
Oh, look, it caught me. Look at that. So it was actually recording. It was just terrifying us with that information.
okay. Great.
Okay. We're going to try again. Exodus 6:8. Cool. And the Torah study.
You got it.
I just closed it, so I don't have it anywhere.
Did you text it to me?
That's incredible. Here we go. Midrash with Tony and Josh. Begin. I don't care. Midrash with Tony and Josh. Begin. I don't care at this point. We will learn our lesson in the future, but not today, us.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Future us will know.
Future us. Today, us. No. No good. All right. Isn't this so engaging?
Great.
Okay. So they do this and they're able to. It's interesting. They do it through their mysteries. I wonder what that is. I don't know that is a very Hebrew word. It's curious to me.
Riley's on there.
To him. So, dude.
Riley.
So, Riley. So yeah. Let's take a look. Where are we at here?
We are on the magicians of Egypt do likewise.
Yep.
Each threw down his staff, and they became snakes, and Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. And Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he did not listen to them, as Yahweh had said.
Okay. Interesting. And that's verse 11?
That's 11 through 13.
Okay. Vayikra gam para. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. They do it according to their mysteries. In verse 12, Vayashlichu ish matehu. They send out, so the other ones send down their staffs. Vayihi letananim vayivla. So they.
Jenny too. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Jenny. They send out, so they send the staff, and it swallows. It swallowed their stabs. Interesting. And it says they each threw down. So 12. Why does it say? Why are they saying 12? Why does it say? Why are they saying each? Each. It says each person threw it down, but
You have wise men, sources.
I just mean I'm actually more commenting on the grammar in Hebrew. We imagine too, probably what we see in the New Testament, Jambres and Jonas and Jambres, but there's no. The text doesn't say there were two. The text doesn't say two of them replicated it. What would be really cool as a word picture, because the Hebrew grammar allows it, is if 15 of them did it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So there's no, like, we kind of imagine, you watch Prince of Egypt, that there were two that did this, but and it's possible that that's how you should read based on Janus and Jambres. They're mentioned in the New Testament and they're part of kind of Second Temple Jewish period thought. But there's no reason in the text to say it was just two of them. It could have been multiple ones. Either way, we know that Aaron's staff swallowed all of them. The snake swallowed all of them, devoured them.
Right.
Okay, so now we're on, and I think an important verse to look at. This is actually where your name comes from, Ezekiel.
Nice.
It's your name is Yechezkel, and this is Yechezak. By Yechezkel, that's funny. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened or hard, and not he was listening to them. Ka'asher diber Yahweh, just as Yahweh had said. Okay.
And Yahweh said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is insensitive.
Mm-hmm.
He refuses to release the people. Go to Pharaoh in the morning Look, he is going out to the water, and you must wait to meet him on the bank of the Nile. And you must take in your hand the
Okay, let's slow
staff.
down. Let's look at verse 14. This section gets a lot of airtime and theological discussions and in the New Testament. First off, Pharaoh's heart being hardened is a long, complicated process. Here, in verse 13, it says his heart was strengthened, and which they translate hardened. So his heart was strengthened, almost like this idea of spurned onward. It doesn't say hardened. And then in verse 14, Vayomer Yahweh al Moshe kaved lev paro, which is a stative verb, it means heavy. His heart was heavy, which means the idea of dull, weighed down like a rock. So you could say, there is this idea of hardness, but it means it's too heavy. And part of this idea too is that the word it's used not just of the heart; it's also used of sight. When I opened this instruction up, I prayed, and one of the things I prayed in line with Genesis, where so Joseph brings his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, to Jacob to bless him, and Jacob's eyes from old age. It says his eyes are heavy from old age. Means they're not functioning. They're kind of like lethargic. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So I can see insensitive working there, and he refuses to let the people go. Now, some people take this to mean Yahweh is making his heart hard, and he's telling Moses, "Okay, it's going according to my plan." But that's not actually what he's saying here. Yahweh is reporting on his heart.
Right.
So, Vayomer Yahweh al Moshe kaved lev paro me'ain lishlach ha'am. He refuses to send the people. So now we can and this is important for us to think about with Romans 9. So yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. Go to Pharaoh in the morning. Look, he is going out to the water. And you must wait to meet him on the bank of the Nile. And you must take in your hand the staff that was changed into a snake.
Okay. Look, he's going out to the water. Yeah. Verse 15. Lechel paro barocher hine yotze hamaima. He's going out to the water. In the morning, he's going to the water. Vanitzvata, which is nitzav is oppose or station yourself across from while he's in the water in the Nile, and call out to him. All also fought Hayar, I guess in the edge of the Nile. Vaha, and the staff which nehepach, the staff which nehepach, 13. Hapach is to be altered or changed, and the staff which changed into a serpent. That's a weird picture. That changed. Now it says Nachash.
Now it's Nakash.
It's Nachash. That the one that changed into a serpent. Tikach b'yadecha, take it. Interesting. That's an interesting thought. But yeah, so almost as a third reading, it's an interesting thought. The idea that you would put this serpent, which also symbolizes a destructive force, you put it in the water, and what comes out of the water is blood. The idea that there's a destroyer at work in the water. It could be seen also as an Isham, that Pharaoh himself is bathing in the water, is the source of all the blood. And the reason we're going to see blood is because it's filled with the blood of Hebrew boys.
Right.
And so it's literally like you can't hide. You may go to the water and think that you can cleanse yourself, but you're the source of foul.
Right.
The loss of life and defilement.
But this was a different Pharaoh than did that.
It is, but he's just a continuation of it. He's forcing them. No, you could imagine the process of killing the males seems to be a long, extended, arduous work. Yeah, it's very possible that that's a dynastic pursuit. Now, obviously, they cull and they stop, and they cull and they stop. This kind of thing. They have different ways of trying to stop their population growth. But this king is also interested in keeping them suppressed. Yeah. So we're in verse 16.
And you must say to him, Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to you, saying, release my people that they may serve me in the desert. And look, you have not listened until now.
Yeah. So, Ve'amarta elav, and say to him, Yahweh Elohei Ivarim, the Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, Shalachani. He sent me to you, Elecha, saying, now you send my people. Shalach et ami. This word "send" is so important. So you have this idea that Moses is this. There is already, notice this. There's already in the Torah this idea that there is God is coming to bring His kingdom, and He's going to take His people who are subject to another king, and He's going to be their king, and He's going to take them to Himself and redeem them and take them out of that status, and He'll be king over them. So it's the coming kingdom of God that destroys and swallows the kingdom of Egypt. Remember that sign with the staffs? So God is coming, and it's this process of these signs. That first sign is actually a sign of the whole thing, the whole endeavor, and it's prophecy.
The snake?
Yes.
Swallowing.
You will be in a competition with me, your powers versus my power,
Oh, yeah,
and I will devour yours.
Yeah.
And they'll be defeated. So that sign is a precursor to all that follows. And then we end up with So we end up with God using this key word, send. And so we have this message of God coming as a king, literally coming into the land as a king, and He has these representatives and messengers that He sends out to proclaim good news ahead of Him and ahead of His arrival. Does that not sound like the apostles who are sent out 2 by 2 ahead of the coming Yeshua into the land to say, I have good news of the kingdom of God. It's coming, God's kingdom, and you are freed and liberated from exile and from slavery, and God is going to give you the promised land, which at the time of Yeshua's day was held by the Romans, right? So they're still under this Tanaim, this giant serpent, this empire. So just
off the topic, but
yeah,
this is Aaron's holding the staff in the water, Moses is speaking, or vice versa?
Aaron is holding the staff. That's what I would say. Now it says
He says to Moses, go and do this thing. And then the next line, it just says, and you must say to him this thing.
What is it? So, well, first off, that makes sense because last week we discovered the fact that Moses doesn't want to interact with Pharaoh directly, doesn't want to be the one that has to deal with it. So you'll be like God, Aaron will be like your prophet.
Yeah,
but Moses he's initiating this capacity right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, one of the things that's interesting?
So this is when Yahweh is telling Moses.
Yeah, what to do.
He's
instructing him and giving him commands. And here's what's funny is, release my people so they can serve me in the desert, which is, you're supposed to send my people. I'm sending these two so that you'll send my people out so they can serve me in the desert. Now, the word for serve, later on in the narrative, it's going to be so they can hold a festival. So we can hold a festival in the desert, so we can sacrifice animals in the desert. All of these are used by Moses to describe it. But watch this. This word, Vaya Abduni, so they'll serve me. Who does Pharaoh think the Israelites are servants of?
Him.
Yes. So Yahweh is saying, it would literally be like, oh, by the way, they're my slaves, they're my servants. Send them to me so they can serve me in the desert or in the wilderness. And behold, lo shamata adko, and you have not listened up to this point. Okay. Or the hine lo shamata. Yeah, you have not listened up to this point. So one of the things that I think is key for us to look at right now is let's go back and look at Genesis with just the word serve. Who was the first to serve God? God's saying that this people, the Hebrews, are going to go out and hold a festival in the wilderness, and they're going to serve Him. Who are the first people who's the first human that's called to serve God? Adam. That's right. Adam. So where are we with that? Yeah. Vayitzer Yahweh Elohim et ha'adam afar mina adama Fich va'apiv nishma hachayim vayihi adam la'nefesh haya vayita Yahweh Elohim gan ba'eden. So he takes him and he stations him, or he plants. Yeah. So he plants. I'm sorry. Vayita. Yeah. So Yahweh plants the Garden of Eden in the east or in ancient times. Vayasem sham et ha'adam asher yitzar, and he places the man there. The man's job is going to be to serve him. The man is Yahweh's servant in order for him to serve. And so that's a priestly function, which is why we now get the word chag for festival and sacrifices. Let them, they're priests. They're all going to serve me. They're all my priests. Okay. This has to me kind of a flavor of like, he's addressing Pharaoh, who has a royal function as a priest in certain festivals, and his servants often are magicians, and they have certain, they're connected to the priesthood. And so Yahweh is saying, these guys are my priests. These nobodies that are your slaves are actually my priests. Let them come serve me. And this, by the way, is very similar to the idea that Yeshua would compare all of his disciples to priests.
Right.
When Yeshua talks about the kingdom, he talks about like setting himself up as the local Yahweh, and his followers, his disciples, are his priests. This is very similar to Exodus language. So you can see that Yeshua doesn't make this stuff up for the new covenant. It's already in the Torah. Okay, verse 17.
Thus says Yahweh, by this you will know that I am Yahweh. Look, I'm about to strike with the staff that is in my hand the water that is in the Nile, and it will be changed to blood.
Yeah, thus says Yahweh, and this, Bezot teda ki ani Yahweh, you'll know that I'm Yahweh. Behold, look at it. I, Mukeh, Bamate, Asher Bayadi, I will strike with the staff that's in my hand. I will strike the water which is in the Nile, and it will be transformed to blood. Again, like we'd said, these transformations are symbols. Does that make sense?
Right.
So watch this. They are. Let's go back to a word that Pharaoh uses. We just read it. He said,
signs, wonder.
Yeah, mofet. This idea of a sign or wonder. He says, lemor tanu lechem, to give him a sign. He asked for a sign, right? Which is itself a miracle. But watch this. Another word for mofet is a symbol. It's not just a miracle. It signifies something or sign, right? Which is itself a miracle. But watch this. Another word for mofet is a symbol. It's not just a miracle. It signifies something or symbolizes. Like Yeshua, his miracles aren't just, yay, now I can walk, or yay, now I don't have leprosy. They sign something. They symbol something. All of these wonders are also symbols or signs. So Moses comes and puts his staff in the water, and then what? The water turns to blood. This source that's there for Pharaoh to bathe this in the morning, for him to be cleansed, right, is actually it's defiled, and Yahweh reveals the truth of it. That it is spoken of as clean water, right, the Nile, but actually the Nile is defiled by the blood of Yahweh's, the Hebrew voice,
right,
and its true state ends up being revealed through the sign. So the sign is itself an actual miracle, but it symbolizes a message that he who has ears to hear would hear. He who has eyes to see would see. It's very similar to Yeshua's miracles and signs.
Okay.
He doesn't just do us miracle for no reason. All of it, by the way, all of the miracles that Yeshua performs, all of them fulfill this metric. These signs are performed in order that the Hebrews would be able to go and do cultic worship, in order that the Hebrews will be liberated so they can go and do temple worship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeshua only does miracles that allow Israelites to go do temple worship. Let me give an example. Those who are lame, can't go past a certain point. They're unclean in the temple. Those who are blind can't go past a certain point in the temple to partake. Those who are leprous can't go at all. So all of these people are forbidden from taking part in temple worship. The same thing as these guys were in bondage, cruel bondage and unable to take part in worship for Yahweh, right?
Okay.
And so you have this, you have Moses performing signs that themselves are symbols to say, I am going to reveal, I'm going to reveal these judgments in God's heart and the doings of God towards this end of getting my people to me. Okay, so where are we?
19.
Okay.
Or 18, sorry. And the fish that are in the Nile will die, and the Nile will stink, and the Egyptians will be unable to drink water from the Nile. And Yahweh said to Moses, say to Aaron, take your staff and stretch your hand out over the waters of Egypt and over their rivers, over their canals, and over their pools, and over all of their reservoirs of water, so that they will become blood. And blood will be in all the land of Egypt, and in vessels of wood and of stone. So everywhere, even if it's not even connected to the rivers.
That's the idea. All the sources of water. That's right. Which ultimately will, in ancient times, will be diverted and come from the Nile.
Right.
But there's no circumvention of this. Essentially, is what they're. Hayar the Nil U 18. Yeah, it won't be capable anymore. The people of Israel just drink mime from the Nile. And yeah. By the way, where does everybody drink? They drink from the Nile, right?
Yeah.
If the symbol is true, if God's saying, "Oh, this was already true, and I'm actually revealing the unseen thing that this river is defiled with blood." What do we have anywhere in Scripture where we're commanded not to eat or drink blood? Genesis, actually, no person is supposed to consume blood.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to consume blood. Even so Noah is not allowed to eat blood.
Right.
The Egyptians come from Noah. They're not allowed to eat blood. And part of the thing is when they say they're lapping up the Nile before they know it's blood, it's like these movies. It's like a really corny 80s reference, The Lost Boys, where the vampires make him think that the noodles are actually like bugs. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they flash back and forth and stuff. These guys think that they're drinking the pure water of the Nile, which is actually worshipped by them. And they're drinking blood. They're drinking the blood of the innocent. And yeah, okay. There's probably more we could say, but for now, I think we'll. Okay, go ahead.
And Moses and Aaron did so, as Yahweh had commanded. And he raised the staff and struck the water that was in the Nile before the eyes of Pharaoh and before the eyes of his servants, and all of the water that was in the Nile was changed to blood.
What verse was that?
That was 20. Now stank, and the Egyptians were not able to drink water from the Nile, and the blood was in all the land of Egypt.
And then 21?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Yeah, so it's all transformed into blood. As a throwback, the idea that creation could hide spilled blood is already shown in the Torah. Like that's not how God rolls. When he asked Cain,
Right.
"Where's your brother?" What does Cain say?
Am I my brother's keeper?
Yeah. And he says, "I don't know." It's basically what he's saying, right? I don't know. And then what does God say to him to disprove that he doesn't know?
The land goes out, or Abel's blood goes out to me from the land.
Yeah. So, okay, and we did 20. So they did as Yahweh commanded.
It happened like he said it was going to happen.
Yeah. Via rainbow via et hamayim. So the water of the Nile before the eyes of Pharaoh, before the eyes of his servants, was transformed. All of the water which was in the Nile to blood. Okay. And 21. Yeah.
And the magicians of Egypt did likewise with their secret arts, and Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he did not listen to them, as Yahweh had spoken.
Yep. Okay. That which verse was that?
That was 22.
22. Okay, wait, hold off. Let me see. You're gonna get you. Yeah, they're not able to drink from it. whole Eretz Mitzrayim. And then 22, read it again.
And the magicians of Egypt did likewise with their secret arts, and Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he did not listen to them as Yahweh has spoken.
Strengthened. Yeah, made strong. Yeah, his heart was strengthened. It's interesting that they would say that there. Let's see here. What verse was that? Was 22?
That was 22.
And Pharaoh's heart was hard.
What's
Yeah, it made it strong. There's a lot of instances in the Tanakh where people strengthen themselves or they embolden themselves. Another way to say it is embolden. When we actually use chazak for the heart, they've emboldened their heart. No, this actually is helpful. This is a way for us to know just by context. Yahweh isn't going, sorry, Pharaoh. Pharaoh's like, no, please don't. And Yahweh's like, it's hard, and whatever. That's not happening because what embeds him?
His ability, the
magicians.
Yeah, the magicians. His
Both
ability
instances.
to see his magicians replicate.
That's right. So then he becomes emboldened. He strengthens himself. What is he putting his trust in? Not the miracles of Yahweh, not the words of Yahweh, but rather the works of Satan, the works of this unseen forces, the works of their enchantment. And so he's putting his trust in them. So we end up with this really... hey, you guys, Moshe. That's weird. All right. What's up, Moshe? What's up, Moshe? Hey. So we end up with examples of Pharaoh hardening his own heart or emboldening, or his heart becoming emboldened, and it's directly correlated to these magicians. So he's putting his trust in them. And we already know that they do dark arts that are outlawed in the Torah, arts that or actions that are foul, that defile the land itself. And so he's emboldened at this, and we're in verse 23 now?
Yep.
Okay, so he doesn't listen to them as Yahweh had spoken. And this is an interesting thing. When we hear as Yahweh had spoken, we think, oh, is he showing like God made his heart hard? But actually what it demonstrates is Yahweh's foreknowledge. Yahweh's almost like the prophecy is true. God tells him, hey, you're going to do this. He's not going to listen to you, though. And part of what God's doing is he's saying, I'm a true judge. I'm a fair judge, and I'm a good judge, and I can tell you Pharaoh won't do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so he reveals that his word, his judgment of Pharaoh is just, and it's right, and it's fair. So, okay. Let's look at... All right, thank you, Yeshua. So we're in 23 now.
And Pharaoh turned and went to his house, and this also he did not take to heart.
Yeah.
That makes me think of the opposite of what Mary does.
With Yeshua?
Right.
Yeah, she doesn't take it to heart. She
stores all these things.
She throws it away.
Abraham?
Torah or in the Tanakh.
Mhm.
Somebody, I think there is an instance of that that's similar to Mary. I'm not familiar with right now. I don't remember. Vayifin paro, vayavo el beito velo shot, vayavo el beito velo shot libo gam hazot. And again, this firmly places the blame on Pharaoh, and his agency has not been obliterated at any point thus far. So he doesn't take it to heart.
Yeah.
He has the choice to take it to heart and refuses to. Again, Yahweh's word is true and fair. He knows Pharaoh. He's a good judge. And this is, by the way, Shoftim Gedolim, great judgments.
Yeah.
I'm going to send great judgments.
Right.
Yahweh is a fair and just judge.
All right.
And these judgments already demonstrate that Pharaoh, as a representative for this nation, is bringing this on all their heads. He has made himself very heavy, which is an interesting play on words, because to make yourself heavy is to praise yourself, to make a big deal out of yourself.
Glorify yourself.
That's right. But it also means heavy in the sense of dull and fat. So it's a play on words. It's like, okay, you're going to make yourself heavy? I'll help you. I'll make you heavy. There is going to be a point where Yahweh does take a more and more active role as these signs continue. And Yahweh, it will say, the text will be explicit, Yahweh will do this. Yahweh prophesies he's going to do this early. He says, I will harden Pharaoh's heart. And he does. He's going to take a more active role in hardening Pharaoh's heart. So let's take a look at, what's the next one?
24. And all of the Egyptians dug around the Nile for water to drink. because they were unable to drink from the water of the Nile.
Yeah.
And 7 days passed after Yahweh struck the Nile. So they were able to get water.
Yeah, they're it's,
Well, I guess it doesn't say they were successful, but it says they start digging around the Nile. For
yeah, they're
water.
trying.
So it doesn't say anything about.
Yeah,
whether or
it
not they're
doesn't
successful.
talk about their success. It talks about them,
So that's.
which is a weird picture, right? Like, what's this?
Like, how do you just go straight into? Well, yeah, I guess so. For them, they.
Yach Peru, verse 25, dig. It's an interesting thought, right? What will they find if they dig there? But they're going around digging, looking for water. They're thirsty for it. They're hungry for it. This is also, I think, as a sod reading, I want to put it out there, that those who follow the way of the serpent, the Leviathan, the dragon, the serpent of this age, that they will end up being guilty of consuming the life of the innocent and destroying other people. They'll end up being guilty of murder. They'll end up being guilty of destruction, and they will thirst, and they will be left to literally like searching and longing for water, living water. Living water doesn't just mean water that's alive, water that grants life. It's a metaphor. It's in Hebrew. It's also it's a kind of Near Eastern way of describing it. Water that is moving, so it's not stagnant. Okay, they're searching for water because they don't truly have any water. And so I think in this way the Egyptians are pitiable. Okay. Where are we?
8, chapter 8. Now.
Well, here's what's. Did we really do that? Did we already get to 8?
Yeah, the 7 days passed after Yahweh struck the Nile.
Oh, it's different. I think it's different in Hebrew. In Hebrew, 8. I've got 29 verses, so we've got. I think the first few verses is the same, but notice this: Yemalei Shivat Yamim. 7 days after Yahweh struck. 7 days. Huh. Live video stop.
Done.
Okay.
Did they get up there?
I don't know. Is this all part of it?
I don't know.
I'm really confused now, bro.
It looks like we're live.
Let's see.
It's like 40 minutes.
No?
Okay, it's 18.
Yeah, we're
That was
out.
the first one.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
We didn't get the second one.
I don't know. Man, got a lot to learn. A lot to learn.
Because people were just watching. Yeah, 30 minutes right there.
Yeah, this is the new one. Why did it just stop? Interesting. Interesting. Are we about at an hour though?
Yeah, 2:30.
Well, I guess we can. Hopefully, this one's just not a black screen. Because that would be great. So we'll stop there, and I will note this that 7 days. 7 days were completed where it was blood. It's interesting.
Significant
7 days without water.
time.
Yeah, the idea of the number 7 and why it's important. I don't know how that happened. But it's kind of worth meditating and thinking about. Did it happen on Shabbat? Because it happened for 7 days, you know that it fell on a Shabbat. How do these plagues? Here's an interesting question that I don't know the answer to. How do these plagues affect Shabbat? One of the problems that you have is they're not allowed to Shabbat because they're slaves.
Huh.
So
but the first ones are happening to the. Oh yeah, the first ones are happening to the Israelites too.
it seems that way. It would seem that way. But do they get to rest? Do they finally get rest from their labor?
Eventually.
Can you go on doing your labor without water, or is the new labor?
I think they would have been if they said no straw, still make me the bricks. If it's them that took the water,
but
still give me the bricks.
At that time, the only provocation is the words from this weird Moses' mouth. Now the provocation is we don't have any water to drink. Then what you're describing, go ahead and make the rest, is nothing's changed from our resource perspective. But the second time is we don't have water, our resources have changed, so now we have to regroup. And
yeah, but I'm saying they wouldn't get a choice. It's not like Pharaoh would be like, sure, take a break because you don't have any water.
No, I don't think he says take a break. I think because let's see.
I mean, it strikes me as the type of dude who wouldn't do that.
Interesting. This is like we're in a different conversation. I think the heart of Pharaoh, so Moshe says, I think the heart of Pharaoh was hardened so he could be defeated in the sea, in opposition with Moses, whose name means saved from the water. Interesting. Moshe, yeah, that is a one grammatical reconstruction of the name Moshe is it means to be drawn out of the water. And so drawn into the water, that's an interesting place, or that's an interesting idea. I think I would, I'd call that a secret reading or a sod reading, Moshe. I think that could be one of the reasons. And I actually think it's important that he dies in the water because the water represents Sheol. Sheol is the waters, the deep waters. Look at Psalm 18. Sheol is described as watery depths. If you look at actually how Hebrews thought that the world was comprised, there's this Tehom and this deep, and out on the edges, these watery depths are Sheol on the outside of the disk of the land. And so that he would have to, that he himself would be descending into death. And this is very similar to Satan, that the one who wants to cause Messiah to descend into the grave himself ends up dying in the grave that he dug for Messiah, like Haman in a way. And so in that sense, yes, the idea that the Pharaoh that threw Israel into the water to kill them and drown them would himself be thrown into the water to be killed and drowned. I mean, I think that's true, but I actually would argue with you, Moshe, and I would say the chief reason that Yahweh does this is to make a great name for himself. And then very close to that underneath is these great judgments. He's going to judge Pharaoh and the people of Egypt, and he's going to judge their gods. But I really like your sod reading. That's actually kind of cool. And I'm not negating it. I'm saying I just don't think it's the chief reason. And I definitely think that when we say I think Pharaoh's hardened so he could be defeated in the future, that again, I just want to note that the process of Pharaoh's heart being hardened wasn't a punctiliar one and done event. You know what I'm saying? For sure, he's the boss. All right, great. He is the boss. All right. So yeah. All right. Bless you, Moshe. I agree with you. He's the boss. Okay. I think we're gonna stop for now. So that really encourages me. Don't know who you are, Moshe. Bless you. All right. Peace.